All right, is everyone done with the reading? Not done yet? Give you 1 more minute. Yeah,
So I need to read the quizzes.
Yeah, so you have 5 quizzes due on Monday. You can do it, and you can give it to me today, tomorrow, whenever.
I did 3.
You did 3? All right, so they talked about cooperative learning. Usually it's like they said 4 or 5 individuals, right?
Yes.
And each assumes a specific role. It doesn't just work with just learning as well. Government works very cooperatively as well. When we look at the U.S. government is very cooperative, all right? Of course, we have a president, right? But Obama is not just the only guy.
The council,
Yeah.
the council decide, the council here in America.
Yeah, what's the name of that council?
Uh,
Congress. Yeah, it's all right. Don't worry about it. Yeah, we have Congress as well. They actually act as kind of like. I was actually thinking about Congress because they're a separate group. I'm thinking about Obama, like himself. Obama has a number 2. You know who's the number 2? We don't call him president. We call him something president. Is vice president. And his name is Joe Biden. Not enough lines. All right, don't worry. There's many lines. Under Joe Biden, we have something that's called a cabinet. All right, most democracies, like Germany, for example, South Korea, for example, probably even Venezuela. Yeah, we'll not spend too much time on it, but they do have a cabinet. A cabinet is people who advise the president. All right. So, for example, in the U.S., we have a Secretary of State. Does anyone know what the Secretary of State does? This would be Hillary Clinton. Secretary of State is the same as a foreign minister. You know what a foreign minister does?
no.
Foreign minister. This word, foreign.
Yeah, we know from.
Yeah, so what do you think a foreign minister does? Like outside the country, right? So,
Embassy.
yeah, he could work in an embassy. Basically, he's a person who has like relationships with countries from all around the world. Right? We have a Secretary of Education. All right? He's a very good basketball player. We have a Secretary of the Army. Secretary of Navy, Secretary of Air Force, Secretary of Energy, Secretary of the Interior, Attorney General, Secretary of Health. All right? So even in politics, there's a lot of cooperation that is needed. Right? President Obama does not just rule by himself. He has a lot of people who he has to work with. So this is another form of cooperative learning. Even Obama, as the most powerful man in the United States, I shouldn't say well, most powerful man in the United States, has to use cooperation to learn about things as well. Okay, so not just in university, but also in politics. All right, let's look at the vocabulary on page 3. So the first word, everyone repeat it to me, is, okay, so everyone repeat it to me, approach. Approach. Right? So they already give you the answer to approach, right? It's method. So when we talk about approach, that's a good example. Think of it as like a way of doing something, all right? So if you're learning a new language, there are actually many ways you can learn a new language, all right? One of the ways Actually, this is the old way. Maybe in your country you learn it this way, is audiolingual. You listen to something and then you read it. Please repeat after me.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is...
My name
Adam
is.
is
Your name?
Korean.
Good. How are you today?
How are you today?
That would be an example of audiolingual learning a language. Like you listen or you read something and then you copy it. All right? And we have another way. It's called communicative, which is more about talking. All right? So these are two approaches, two ways that you can learn a language. Okay? All right, number 2. Would anyone like to do number 2?
Evidence.
Okay, yes, sir? Yep.
Evidence.
Yep.
Proof.
Yeah, proof. Very good. All right, so, Yasser, if you killed Fabiana, what would be the proof that you killed Fabiana?
My fingerprint.
Good. Fingerprints, sure. What else?
Blood.
Blood, sure.
My knife and her money.
Your knife, yeah, very good. Yeah, I like that you decided to kill her by knife. That's very good. Nice of you.
DNA.
DNA, very good. Footprints. All right, like sometimes if it's a wet day outside, you can use footprints as well. Okay, good. Sorry. Number 3. Yeah, benefits. Would anyone like to do that one? Yeah, go ahead, Fabian.
Benefits. Advantage.
Yeah, advantage is very good. I don't think that's too difficult of a word, right? Number 4. Everyone repeat to me. Concepts.
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 Would anyone like to do that one? Someone different? Okay, Yusuf.
Meaning?
Yes.
So we have ideas, meanings, and generalizations. Not quite.
No, ideas.
Ideas. Very good. All right. So concepts could be things that we've never tried before. All right. So concept is definitely an idea. Okay. Now, E. Everyone repeat to me. Interpretation.
Interpretation.
5 syllables. All right. Interpretation.
Interpretation.
Good. Anyone like to do that one? Interpretation. Hmm? Yeah. What's the meaning of interpretation? Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't know.
I think it's version.
Explaining.
Okay. Yes. So this is right. Explanation. Very good. So there are 2 meanings of interpretation. What's the base word for interpretation? Look at,
In my opinion.
no, the base word. The base. Oh, sorry, I erased it. Interpret. Interpret is a base word. It's a verb. All right. Oftentimes we see this word interpreter. Which is a noun. It's a person. What does an interpreter do? Usually you'll find a lot of interpreters in the United Nations or tourists.
I thought that person who clarified the concepts or translate.
That's one, but I'm thinking more specifically
Translate.
translator. All right. So oftentimes in the UN, people go into the UN and they speak in their own language. They need to have an interpreter who can translate for them from Chinese to Arabic. All right. So a lot of times students get confused when they see interpretation. One of the meanings there is translation, right? In the word. But actually, interpretation means like the explanation of a word. Okay.
But not can be version. Like my version is, I think it's this.
That would. Interpretation doesn't have to be a version. I think version would be like a little bit too specific. Right? Interpretation, you can just get a general meaning of something. Version is a very specific interpretation. Okay. It's like my version of the story. This is what I think, but then another person could have another interpretation. Okay. F, right? Everyone repeat after me. Structure.
Structure.
Go ahead. Kuzan.
Building.
Okay.
Our
Now that is one meaning of structure. All right. But in this reading, actually, it does not mean building. There's another meaning to structure. All right, so this one here is going to be arrangement. So like if you think about like the structure of classes is like, you know, we have SSP, we have LTC, we have vocabulary and reading and writing, right? That would be the arrangement of the classes, right? How they are put together. Schedule is a little bit too specific of a word for structure. Okay. But actually, structure could mean all three things there, but the most general meaning is arrangement. G involves.
Involves, includes.
Yeah, includes. Good.
Role.
H is a role. All right. Know your role and shut your mouth. What's role?
Part.
Yes, good. Parts. Yep. So in Real Madrid, Iker Casillas, what is his role?
Goalkeeper.
Goalkeeper. Very good. All right. Cristiano Ronaldo, what is his role?
Nice.
Attacker, winger. All
Behind
right. I think he's more like a winger because he starts way on the left and then comes into the middle. Sami Khedira, what's his role?
Midfielders.
Yeah, center midfielder. And even when you have like in soccer, sorry, I'm going to use soccer again. Even if you have a position, you may have a more specific role. So like for example, Sami Khedira and Toni Kroos are center midfielders, but they have different roles. Sami Khedira just runs, run until you die. Toni Kroos, what's his role? He's also a center midfielder too, but he has a very different role than.
He passes the ball.
Yeah. And we call him the playmaker. Even playmaker also has like it has different roles too. You have a deep lying playmaker who plays behind near the defense, and then you have an attacking playmaker who is like a number 10, like a trecalista. Mesut Ozil is the perfect example of Ronaldinho was, yes, he was also a trecalista. One of my favorite words in Spanish, trecalista. So that's what I mean by role. Specific. You have a specific job to do in a team. Okay. Next one, period.
Period. Duration.
Yeah, duration. Yeah. J is significant. All right, everyone repeat me. Significant.
Significant.
Important. Very good. And finally, variables. I like this word. Everyone repeat me. Variables.
Variables.
Okay. Variable is often used in mathematics. Does anyone know algebra?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the variable in this equation? X. All right. So, what's X here?
2.
2, right? 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 5 equals 9. What's X here? 3. Very good. All right. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 5 equals 11. All right. So, when we look at this word variable, if you notice here, variable has to do with something that can change. All right. So if this answer is different, if it's 13 or 15, then X has to change as well. Okay. So you can look at it in a math way. In real life, what is a variable? Quantities is how much you have of something. Like I have 10 bananas. That's how much quantity, like the quantities that I have of bananas. Not quite quantity. This one's going to be variables. Yeah. Things that can change. Let's say you tell your friend that you're going to go out with him tonight, like we're going to go out for dinner. There are some variables that can change that though, right? So what can change the weather is a good one, right?
The time.
The time, right? Maybe the train is delayed. All right. So these are variables, things that can change your plan. All right. Sometimes in university you have to deal with what's the word again? Variables, right? Sometimes you have to deal with variables, let's say you want to graduate in 4 years, but you can't graduate in 4 years because the university doesn't offer a class. Right? That happened to me almost. In order to graduate, I had to take Japanese 4. If I didn't take Japanese 4, the 4th class of Japanese, I would not be able to graduate. So they told me I had 2 choices. One, I could wait 6 months and then take the class in my university, or I could go to Harvard University and take their Japanese 4 class. So I wanted to get out of college immediately, so I went to Harvard University and I took Japanese 4, right? Which is a nice thing to tell people, like I went to Harvard University.
For one class.
For one class. No, you don't have to say that. You don't have to say that. You just say I went to Harvard University, and then that's it. You're good. Right. Any questions on that vocabulary? All right. Okay. So when we look at part 2A, excuse me, I'm going to need 2A. For cooperative learning, all right, they give you some directions, but I don't have to read the directions on the top of 2A. Yeah, go ahead, Fabiana. Put a check.
Put a check mark next to each statement that is an effective strategy for successful cooperative learning.
All right, so let's look at A. Fabiana, can you read it?
Collaboration among team members.
What does collaboration mean?
Like work together.
Good, excellent. All right. Collaboration, work together. So is that a check mark or nothing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Check mark, definitely. Okay. B. Emphasis.
Emphasis on individual achievements.
Okay, what does emphasis mean?
Excite.
Focus in that.
What's the verb? Emphasize. Very good. So Jiga. So emphasis is like importance. Like you make something really important. So check mark or no check mark?
No.
No, check mark.
Yeah. What's the key word?
Individual.
Individual. Very good. Nadia.
Find the vision of responsibility for the assignment.
Anyone know division?
Yeah. The noun of divide.
Divide.
Yes.
Of them parts.
Yeah. Husam, you're gonna do part 1. Jigun, you're gonna do part 2. Anas, you're gonna do part 3. That would be like division.
Yeah.
You have a whole thing, but you divide it into 3. So check or no check?
Check.
For me, no.
Yeah, check.
It says fair division.
Yeah.
The opposite of fair is unfair.
Okay.
All right, so this one is the check. Jigun? D?
Similar for some team members.
Yes.
Check.
Yeah, that would be a check. Yeah, very good. The best type of group is a group that has a single goal. All right. If you play in a sports team, or if you play in Real Madrid and 3 players want to win the Spanish league and 8 players just want to get as much money as they want, that's not good because the team doesn't have the same goal. So you always want to have a team that has the same goal. Husam?
primary